Hi everyone, and welcome to the Kevin Campbell Show with me, Kevin Campbell, and
me, Lee Judges.
Look, we're gonna get straight into it because we've got a packed show, Lee. We've got plenty to cover. So these are the 5 things I think Arsenal need to look at, address, and really think about moving forward. The number one, Lee, is the plan. What is the plan at Arsenal right now? Because we've seen a lot of change over a week. So we're gonna discuss that. Number 2 is Mikel Arteta. We're gonna go into different things about Mikel Arteta, which probably some haven't quite addressed lately. Number 3 is Europe. And we're gonna discuss what happened, and we're gonna discuss moving forward about the club. Number 4 is AUBAMEYANG, because I think that really, AUBAMEYANG needs to be addressed. And it's either one way or the other. It's got to be addressed by the football club. And last but not least is the Premier League. Do we trust these players to even challenge for even 5th spot? Because we're not sure whether 5th spot's going to actually be a Champions League place. But obviously what's happened in Europe, you know, can we trust these guys? So let's kick straight into number 1, Lee. I feel real personal about the plan that Arsenal have and what they're going to do, because I think, you know, and we're not a rudderless ship now. I think we've got a manager who is proving that he can actually make a difference with some of these players. But in your opinion, Lee, what is the plan, or is there no plan right now?
It's a real difficult one. I think everybody's a little bit disappointed about what's gone on in the last week, but things got a little bit better yesterday. But the plan, you know, Arteta come out this week and said, oh, you know, we won't be able to make the signings we want because of the Champions League, you know. So, you know, this self-sustained model is dependent on European football. I never thought it was. I think, you know, when you've got a stadium which is filled every week, even though that it's not filled by fans going, the money's already in. You know, West Ham on Saturday is a sellout. You know, all corporate is a sellout, sold. You know, so there's money being made, generated from that stadium, and we're now dependent on Europe. Well, there's no plan there, because there's no guarantees in football, Kevin. There's no guarantees that you're going to do this and do that. Anything can happen. And to say that you're reliant on Champions League football, well, what we've been doing that for 20 years and been getting it, and then all of a sudden now,
and haven't been spending the money.
Well, yeah, so exactly, you know, so it's all dependent. The Arsenal Football Club is all dependent on a top 4, you know, building everything, the foundations of a big club around. And that's not right. It's a wrong model. So things need to be, you know, people need to be accountable for that. And I don't really see a plan going forward, because football is so unpredictable. You can't, you know, one minute you're going to be there, and now you're relying on these players to get us to 4th or 5th. And, you know, and even now they're saying the Europa League is important for the financial back of it all, like, you know, I mean, which was looked frowned upon.
Frowned upon in the past.
So,
let me touch on one thing, Lee. I got to London yesterday, and I got in a taxi, and it was a gooner, Vince, who known for years, a great lad, and we started discussing Arsenal, and we started talking about the plan. And we're having a good discussion. I said to him, Vince, you know, do you think it's the right thing to do to miss out on Europe? I said, because if you remember correctly, Lee, it happened to Liverpool, it's happened to Chelsea, it's happened to quite a few of these clubs now who are quite upwardly mobile, who missed out on Europe one season. I think Liverpool finished 8th a few seasons ago. They didn't get in. But what it done, it gave them a chance to actually structure and build.
Yeah.
Now, we obviously want European football. We're not saying we don't want European football. But if it's going to allow Mikel Arteta to build, and it's not going to be, you're going to get millions and millions of pounds to go out and splash it on who you want. I think, I said to Vince yesterday, we've got to rip it up and start again. Because we are kind of in a transition where we've got players who are earning good money, who are proven that they can't get over the line. They've proven it. Now, Mikel Arteta has improved some of these players, or most of these players. But as we've seen against Olympiacos, how do you plan with players who can't get up for a game? It's frustrating to me. And that's no way of a plan to have players who don't start fast in a game that is so important to the football club.
Exactly, and that's what you're saying. That game on Thursday was important for the financial aspects of the game. You know what I mean? Like for Champions League football, that was our in for Champions League football. Whether we was going to get it or not, that was our in, and look how they performed. So the reliability isn't there. Now fans say, well, we're being told it'll be an absolute disaster if we don't get European football. So how can that be a disaster when Chelsea seemed to come through it quite well? They was out of Europe,
that's right,
and then went and won it.
That's right.
The Premier League, Liverpool, as you say. So why is it okay for other teams to do that, and for Arsenal it's
total disaster?
Total disaster. So is it going to be total disaster for Liverpool if they don't get in it next season? Is it going to be total disaster for Everton if they don't get into Europe this season?
Is it going to be total disaster for Man City if the band stands?
So if Man City don't get into the Champions League, is it all going to
fall apart? No.
Now I look at Manchester City and it should fall apart then, because I see last week against who were they playing? West Ham, was it in a midweek game? Half empty stadium.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't see them saying it's going to be a disaster and they're not going to be able to buy players.
Pep's doubled down. He said he's staying.
Yeah. So
doesn't matter what he said. He don't care what's happening. He's staying.
So are Arsenal a bigger club than Manchester City? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So what is the reason why they can survive and we can't? You know, is it big? And people say, oh, because we don't invest. Well, something's got to give. I know I don't understand the financial sides of everything like that, but we was having a good discussion yesterday going down. Any Arsenal fan, just go and have a look on the hospitality packages at the Arsenal and see how much they are. You know, for 2 tickets for a table is over £1,000, Kevin. Right, over £1,000. They're sold out at West Ham. So there's money being made. It's being generated somewhere along the line. Yeah. You know, 10 times probably more than what was being done at Highbury. Yeah. So don't tell me that there isn't no financial backing, or I get that maybe players can't won't want to come because there's Champions League football. Fine. If you don't want to come to Arsenal because there's not guaranteed Champions League football, I don't want to go elsewhere. Yeah. It's about playing for Arsenal, you know what I mean? Like, and trying to build a legacy, I look at our young players, they're trying to build a legacy and a career that's going to make them be, they're not worried about what's going to come down the line. They're trying. I'm playing for that badge. I'm playing for Arsenal, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a player. Oh, if you don't get into the Champions League, he might leave. You know.
Get rid then.
Get rid.
You know, and this is it's going to lead into Arteta, obviously, because it always tends to work this way, Lee. But the plan for the football club must be kind of two-pronged. If we get into Europe, in the Europa League, we have this budget. Yeah. You know, or if it's the Champions League, we have this budget. But if we don't get in, then our strategy changes a little bit. But I think it goes to be a bit more of a domestic recruitment drive.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think a lot of these guys in the team who are earning good money, who have proven that actually they are not good enough to get Arsenal over the hump. So Mikel Arteta needs to get out there and recruit. And we're going to go into Mikel Arteta next, obviously. But the plan must be to recruit players who are going to get Arsenal. And do you know what? It's not a matter of the name on the back. Forget the names on the back. Are they going to play for that badge? And are they going to give 100% every time they go on the pitch? And are they going to start and turn up? I think that, for me, was the most disappointing thing for the Olympiacos game.
Exactly. And we was discussing this going down to Portsmouth yesterday. And I will criticise Socrates, because if any Arsenal fan wants to have a look back at that last goal, we'll talk about that later on, you know, it's scandalous. Is there a better defender in an English centre-half that's playing in the Premier League now better than Socrates? And if that's the case, then we get them players in that are going to get us into the top 4. Because let's be honest, Kevin, these players, we've changed managers. You know, Wenger to Emery, now to Arteta, we've not been able to get in the Champions League.
Yes.
Now, we've changed the managers and we still haven't got in there. So what's that telling you?
It's the focus goes from management to
the players. Right. And these players are not good enough to get us into the top 4, let alone challenge for the title. Yeah. So now, I'm focusing on that now. Yeah. There's no, you know, you can't be blaming Emery, you can't be blaming Wenger, and you certainly can't be blaming Arteta. It's the players. Yeah.
So hence why, for me, Lee, I'm going to be brutally honest, and look, leave your comments of what I say here. For me, I'd rip it up, and I'd start again. Rip it up and start again.
A good song about that.
Great tune, by the way. It was a good tune. But rip it up and start again, because it's got to be the badge first. It's got to be the club first. And I'm fed up of seeing Arsenal not turn up to games. They have turned up better under Arteta, but we started to see it against Leeds in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's been there all the time.
And you know, they haven't turned up, and Arteta's had to have a go in the break, and then they break out of their slumber. But Olympiacos in the Europa League, come on. You've been over there, you see how hostile it is over there, you know they're going to come with fans and they're going to make plenty of noise. And for them, it's a massive game for them. And we don't turn up. And we make fundamental mistakes that cost us. It's not good enough. So this is why I'd rip it up, I'd start again, and I don't care what name you got on the back. I don't care.
No.
Do you put your lot in every game? Because, do you know what, Lee? I'm going to make a comparison here. I'm looking at Sheffield United under Chris Wilder.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing so-called lesser players performing much better than our so-called superstars. That's not right.
I see Wolves as well.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable the other day against Spurs. Great, by the way. Yeah. But I see players there working in a system and everything that I want to see. You know, we should be doing that as well. Now, with Wolves, I'll be genuine. People have come up to me and said, "Oh well, you know, like we want to beat Wolves over 2 legs." You know what I mean? Is this how far the standards have dropped?
Yeah,
and I can't defend it and say, "No, we would win that game." Yeah. You know, true. Wolves are a tough nut to crack. Now, I want Arsenal, in the end of April, going over to them down the road and doing exactly and playing exactly like our Wolves done and giving it. But you don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal.
You don't know what you're going to get. You don't. We don't know what we're going to get. And that's going to lead perfectly into Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta obviously came out and said, you know, our transfer targets are gonna change because, you know, realistically there's no European football, or if there's no European football, his targets are going to change, etc. What do you make of Mikel Arteta saying that, and what do you think? Do you reckon Mikel Arteta has a plan B, Lee?
It's a real difficult one, this, because I always criticise Arsene Wenger for never coming out and saying things like that. It was always, no, I don't need this, and so it was always then firmly on Arsene Wenger. But Arteta's been very clever and come out and saying this. So I think he's thrown it over to the board or the recruitment people, right? You know, and so I think he's quite clever of him. I'm a big fan of Mikel Arteta. He's won me over from the start, right? So let's get that perfectly clear. But there's a reluctance, and there's within our fan base to fear. Oh, I can't criticise him because I'm going to get vilified. Yeah,
you can,
and I think that you can. I think any time you can criticise, and I think that on the Olympiacos game, people are scared to actually say what it was. The substitutions and whatever, weren't particularly good at the time. Left it a bit too late. Whatever way you look at it, certain things went wrong in that game, and Mikel Arteta has to take some sort of responsibility of that. And I get when fans certainly. I was on Twitter the other day and was saying, let's hope he learns from these mistakes. And then people going, oh, he shouldn't be learning at Arsenal. Well, the fact of the matter is. He is learning on the job. He's learning on the job. You can't, whether you agree with it or not, that's what he's doing. And that's why I feel that he deserves and should be given till next season to get things right, which is tough. Next season I'll judge him completely different to as I am at this moment in time. Yeah. And there is things at this moment in time that he's not doing what I think are great. You know what I mean? Like with the player situation, I felt for even yesterday, second time, how many more games are going to come out and start slow? How many more times is it going to happen?
True.
So I'm looking at him and saying, what are you going to do to change that? I still don't think he's got the midfield balance right. Yeah. So he's still working on that. I look at the inconsistency. I've seen it yesterday and I see it today. I'm going to say it's a criticism of the manager and the players. The movement from Thursday night was non-existent.
Non-existent.
I see it yesterday at times. Guendouzi and Ceballos looking up, looking for the run, looking for the movement, and having to then check their run and play sideways passes. Then people come out and say they keep playing sideways passes. Look at the bigger picture.
Look at the movement up front.
Not good enough. So there are things that Mikel Arteta has got to work on, but I believe that he should be given that time at this moment in time, because I do believe in him. I do believe in what he's doing.
Let me just add to that, Lee. I believe he has got a plan and a system that will work. What I don't think is he's got the players.
Yeah, and that.
I don't think he's got the players to execute it, because man management is such a important key role. Has always been a key role, but I think even now is a key role. And this is why I mentioned man management. Every player will be treated fairly, but every player won't be treated the same. Maitland-Niles will be treated one way. Mesut Ozil, Mustafi, all them, because they're established. You treat the established players different to how you treat the youngsters coming through, because the youngsters have to toe the line. They're trying to get to that status. Once you get to proven status, then you have a bit more cachet with the manager. Because realistically, Mustafi was nowhere. He was out in the wilderness. And then all of a sudden he's come back in, and he's be fair to him, he's played really well. He has played well.
So was that something like yourself, David Hillier, going through the ranks?
Coming through the ranks.
That feeling was there where you thought, well, he's treating me different to those players because they're established?
100%, 100%. When you're a core guy who's been there, seen it, done it, you ain't a rookie. Me and David Hillier at that time were coming through, and we were happy. We wanted to build up the cachet to get to that side, and luckily we done that by getting in at age 20, 21, going on and winning a title. And then once people know you've gone and won a title, you've got some kudos, you've got some cachet then. But if you don't do it and you don't play the games and you don't prove, because Maitland-Niles, he's proven What he's proven his inconsistency. Because there's times where he plays unbelievably well, and there's times where he's just not at the races.
Was there times in because I think it's a great point with Maitland-Niles, because I think that he done okay, and then Bellerin come in and has been left out, and now even Socrates played right back in front of him yesterday. So as a youngster coming through at that stage there, were there times when you thought to yourself, well, I've been left out and I shouldn't have been left out
100%.
because I'm the youngster?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%, Lee. That's what happened. But it's how you take it mentally. I know he left me out because I'm young. But how do I get from here to here where the manager starts to trust you? Because it's all a test. It's all a test. And Mikel Arteta is probably testing Maitland-Niles right now and saying, let me see what you got. Let me see what you've got. Because if you're going to play for Arsenal Football Club, there could be times where you're left out, and then there may be times where I'll pull you back in. What's your head like? And if your head ain't right now, it's not going to be right moving down the line. So if your head ain't right now, do you know what? I'll probably move you on and get somebody in who can go and do the business. Don't forget they've signed Cedric Suarez as well.
Yeah, so that's another kick in him for him a little bit.
Well,
I also think a little kick in him yesterday, a point that we was talking about yesterday. Would Mikel Arteta, and I'm not criticising him here,
we're just talking,
would Mikel Arteta bring an experienced pro player on for 2 minutes at the end of a game, but he done it to Maitland-Niles yesterday? Yeah,
look.
Would we've even had it with Tevez. Remember the time saying I ain't coming on? Would that? I better not do that to an experienced player like Ian Wright, Kevin Campbell at the time, because they might kick off. But I can do it to a younger kid. Do you see what I'm saying like that?
Yeah, Lee, I get it. Sometimes for a manager to get an older player on, you're getting an older player on for a reason. You're getting an experienced guy. If you're going to say, right, Lee, I want you to come on there, I want you to come on because I want you to make sure they stay switched on up front. I understand that. But just for the sake of the clock.
Yeah, and that's what it was yesterday.
And that's what it was. No, you leave the experienced player, you get the youngster on. Because it's another appearance for the youngster. And it's another chance for you to see his demeanour.
So was it a good thing doing that for him yesterday? Because we was thinking...
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
From the fans, but we was talking about it yesterday, I think, it's a bit of taking it...
Well, here we go. As a fan, you might think, he's taking a liberty by bringing him only a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
No. You get two things from bringing him on. One, can he, even in them 2 minutes... is he going to get the information you've given him? Can he do what you want? He may never touch the ball, but he may say, right, you go on and you track whoever and just make sure you stay with him. Can he do that to the letter? And the most important is, what is his attitude like?
Right, so it's another test.
It's always a test. When you play for a club like Arsenal, it's always a test as a youngster. Always. Because you're not established yet. Yeah, he's played games, but he's not a regular. He's not a regular. And there's a new manager in town, and now Maitland-Niles is going to really realise what it's like to play for Arsenal.
See, because I feel there is a talent. He's a good player, but I feel for him because I think it was his fourth manager, if you include Lundberg in this as well.
Yeah.
You know, for a kid coming through, when you come through, it was just one manager all the time. You know what I mean? Which must be a lot easier.
Continuity,
continuity. So it is a little bit of a tough course for him, and I think Arteta is saying, is he doing this in training? And I get what you're saying and all that. So. And he has done it with Guendouzi as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He has done it with but he seems to be doing it with the youngsters. Yeah. But
finding out about him, Lee.
He's finding out. But I see senior players at this moment in time getting away with a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, you might see it as getting away with it. He already knows what the senior players are. Maybe look at it from that point of view. He already knows what he's going to get from Ozil. He knows what he's going to get from Lacazette. He knows what he's going to get from Socrates. He knows what he's going to get from Louise and all of the experienced guys. Because he's played against them. He's coached against them at Man City. He's coached them. He knows what they are. He knows he's not stupid. But with these talented youngsters, as you quite rightly said, they are talented. Do they have the right attitude for Arsenal Football Club, Lee? If they don't have the right attitude for Arsenal Football Club, they've got to go. And do you know what? I think it's so important that he gets ruthless. Because
more so with them than the senior ones.
No, with everyone.
With everyone.
He's got to get ruthless with everyone, because you know what? We could be waiting on a Maitland-Niles or someone to cross that divide, and it never happens. And you'll always feel a bit sorry, he never got the chance. Nonsense now. Nonsense. Is his fourth manager, and the jury's still out.
Yeah.
So something's got to give. He knows what the Mustafis of this world gonna give him. He knows. He's looking. He's got to recruit new. Saliba's coming in. Fantastic. We want Saliba in there. We want somebody horrible at the back. Probably another centre half in there. Yeah. Rob Holding, we've not heard about it. He's another one who's going to be tested. Arteta, because do you know what? He's come from a place at City that these guys are trusted. You know what you're going to get. Week in, week out. That consistency to perform. We had it, we haven't got it anymore. This is what he needs. And it's going to have to be a ruthless streak, and that's why I'm saying rip it up, start again. And Mikel Arteta, to me, I think he's going to start doing that now, because he hasn't got time to mess about with it.
Has he got the time at the moment? Because as difficult as it is now, we've gone out of the Europa, so he can't really do this. We've still, whether we think it or not, there is still a chance of getting into the top 4, top 5. So, can he experiment too much, or is he, because he's got to rely on the...
But Lee, I don't think it's an experiment. It's not an experiment. How is it an experiment? The same for Arteta is the same for the players. There's an opportunity to get us into the Champions League still, after performing so poorly. Now, if the players can't step up, and I can't see the youngsters stepping up, what does Mikel Arteta have?
Well, something's then got to give, isn't it?
No, but what does he have? If he has senior players and youngsters who can't step up, what does he have?
Well, a team that's in 9th or 10th.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He has duds.
Yeah.
He has duds. So it's better he finds that out in the heat of battle now. With the summer coming, if we're not in Europe, I know I'm going to get lads from here, there, or wherever, forget the name on the back, who are going to die for that badge.
Yeah.
And that's what it's got to be. I don't need to test them, because they're going to show me every week what happens. So we're going to go from that into the Europe. How disappointing.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you.
Still ain't got over it now, Kev.
Well, I haven't been that disappointed in a game since the final, end of last season, European game. I'll be honest with you. I thought, after the 1-0 victory over there, I thought, Arsenal going to show up and do these about 3. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I did, yeah.
And it wasn't complacent, but I just thought, it's that important to us that the team turn up. And they never turned up. The goals against are like driving me mad right now. They're still driving me mad.
Painful to watch. 2 goals like that to give away. Painful. And listen, I spoke to my dad. My dad's not well, so he don't go to the games no more. But he come out of a good point when he said, that hurt. I went round and seen him Friday. He went, that hurt. And he said, it hasn't hurt like that for a while, and that's because the expectation has gone up.
Yes.
We was expected to win that game. There are times when you're playing games and you're mentally preparing yourself that you might lose the game. It could go wrong. Yeah. Even like Everton on this, we
knew it could go either way.
It could go either way. You know what I mean? So we've been getting ourselves used to this, but we've set ourselves up. We was in the pub before the game, sorting out, well, Brighton's going to be a Sunday because of the next round, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we was all doing it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
You're planning, aren't you?
Planning, you know, so it's not going to be a Saturday, we go up there on a Sunday, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's changed now to 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Yeah. Everything's changed because of that poor performance. And it was poor. It was poor all the way around. I'm not trying to stick up for the players and all that. Like, I felt that they didn't know how to approach the game. A little bit of experience from the manager, maybe the players shouldn't have had it as well. How to go and I felt they was playing with a handbrake on. They looked too cautious. Didn't really do anything during the game. I'm going to be honest. Olympiacos were the better team. Yeah. They looked more dangerous than us. It was painful watching them. I'm going to say a couple of things about it as well on the night. Let's delve right into the facts. Is, you know what I mean? The FA Cup to me is for the fans. It's for us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The Europa League is for the money men of our football club, top, right? Because I ask a question. No one can answer me this. How comes they had a complete whole end of behind the goal? Do you know what I mean? So.
How come?
How come? Because I'll tell you why. Because we're not going to fill this ground today. So we're cash in. So that took the advantage of home away from us in a certain way because they was loud as anything that game.
Yeah, but Lee, I need to interject on this one. Whenever it was cup time at Highbury, and the opposition had an end, those were the best games.
Yeah, so
those were the best games. For me, that should have made the game even better because all of a sudden you've got the atmosphere in the stadium. You've got an opposition and the opposition fans who are willing them on and they want to beat you, and that makes you then want to beat them. So you turn up. They never turned up.
Now when you go, I get that, I do get that, but when you go to the Emirates, like I always go. There's about 10 of us that go. Like, you know, you've been there as well. Like, you know, when we get to the ground, it's right. See you later, Dan. See you, Tony. See you.
Everyone goes there.
All going in different positions. You've got 3 or 4 in one pocket, 3 or 4. When you go away from home, whether you've got a ticket down the thing, you all get together and you conjugate, and there's a different atmosphere. Yeah. There's a different atmosphere away from home there is at home. It's the way it is. Now, I'm not saying that was the reason, but that was one thing, you know what I mean? When we go to Olympiacos, we're up there on the top. You go to Barcelona, you go to Real Madrid, you're out right at the top, out of the way.
In the gods, yeah.
But here they are, thousands of them, all behind the goal, making as much noise as they possibly can. And the reason is because Arsenal cashed in.
Yeah.
And because, you know, so straight away from the very, very top, Kevin, let's cash in. We're going to win anyway. You know what I mean? We're 1-0 up. There's an opportunity amount of money to get to the next round, and it was all the way through. And to the players, in my opinion, there was a bit of arrogance about them. They thought they was going to go and win the game. Just turn up and win the game. They get the goal that sees us through. We're all celebrating it. Like, at the end of the day, Kev, that should be the end of it.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
But Leno then decides to have a touch. And you know, there's certain things went wrong in the game, and I think it's a big blow to the football club.
I think, Lee, it's a huge blow because that's another opportunity lost through the Europa League. I think the players, we said it at the start of this season when we've done our first show about what happened in the Europa League final.
Yeah.
And we said, and people, you can go back and look at what we said. We said it's obviously when the pressure's on, because what happened at the end of last season, 8 games to go, and in the final, when the pressure's on, when the expectations are high, they do not turn up.
Yeah.
And again, the pressure was on, the expectations were high, and they did not turn up. So it's the players. It's not that Mikel Arteta. I heard someone say Mikel Arteta got out-coached. He didn't get out-coached. Even playing so badly, we're still with a few minutes to go. We're through.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of being out-coached. It was the players are just not doing what they're supposed to do. and not seeing it through. Everyone played badly. God, I had loads of bad games. But you still got to do your job. If Arsenal had done their job, they still would have went through against
that's exactly right. That's the hard thing. We got, as poor as we were, we got the goal with 7 minutes to go, right? Now, against Olympiacos, and I've seen it all on Twitter and people saying, oh, 7 minutes was too long. You know what I mean? Come on. 7 minutes against, you know, a team like that. It should have been like, right, this is it. This is my turn now.
Defenders rubbing their hands.
Yeah. Tony Adams would have been rubbing his hands at that. Like Martin Keown would have been rubbing his hands. Sol Campbell, John Terry, you know what I mean? Like Jamie Carragher. Those sort of players would have been rubbing their hands like, this is my time. You've done your bit, right? You know,
AUBAMEYANG, right now.
Forget about him missing the chance at the end. It should never have come to that. Yeah. But when, at some stage, and we're going to go on to AUBAMEYANG later, when that continuously keeps happening, because let's not get it, let's not beat away from it here. Against Everton, last minute of the game, seconds to go. Calvert-Lewin has an header. He should score. We've given the chance with seconds to go again. He missed it. Get away with it. You cannot keep getting away with it. And we got caught. And the reason we got caught is because the board have decided to skinflint on defenders.
Yes.
And that has cost them
big time.
Big time.
And it has cost them big time. Look, we're going to get onto AUBAMEYANG next anyway. But again, Lee, I got to go back to it. Arteta sends them out to play a certain way. Remember, there's no two ways about they don't know what he wants. They cannot deliver. And that's the for me, that's just the bottom line. That's the line in the sand. They can't deliver.
No.
And the reason why they can't deliver is because they can't produce under pressure consistently enough.
No,
and that's, to me, that's the bottom line. Is that the bottom line for you?
Yeah, it is the bottom line for me now. I'll say it now, there's players in the team that have got to go. There's players that have got to go, and if we have to fund it with selling other players, we will have to do that now, because we haven't got the Champions League money or whatever, and I'm all willing to do that. I am fed up with being let down by these players. And we went to Portsmouth yesterday, and we're driving down there, like, you know what I mean? And there was worry. There was genuine worry that they could, you know what I mean? Like,
turn us off.
Yeah, Ken said to us yesterday, always happens with Arsenal, go out one and then go out of another competition straight away. Like, and there was a genuine worry that we weren't going to win that game last night, or something was going to happen. It didn't happen, like, you know what I mean? Thank God, you know what I mean? Like, but now, you know, that competition now is going to
explode.
Yeah, it's going to get hot now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, right, we are going to play, whether it's home or away,
a top
team. And I want us not going out there in the second half because we've not performed in the first. We've got to be performing. And can I rely on these players to do it? There you go.
Can you trust them?
No, trust.
You know, and we're going to get onto trust in number 5. But we're going to move on to number 4 now, Lee. AUBAMEYANG. AUBAMEYANG scored the goal, missed the chance, which is a striker's lot. You can miss. The question is, do we keep him? Because it's getting serious now, I believe. It's going to get serious. We're out of Europe. Chances are we're not going to be in Europe. There's a possibility. Now, I don't think AUBAMEYANG will come out public and say this, but he'll be wanting to play European football. Come on, you know, he's a top striker. Will that influence his decision in the summer? Will it influence his dilemma in his head? He loves Arsenal, but, you know, it's a short career.
So, it is a tough one. I honestly believe, right? I honestly believe this. You'll know this more than me. That once you've played for the club and you've been involved, and I've been fortunate enough to know you and other ex-players and all that. They all say once you've played for the Arsenal, there's something something about it. You can't explain
anywhere else you go.
It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So he will experience that. But the chance to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, I think they're the only two teams that I think will prize him away. I don't believe he'll go anywhere else. I'd be very shocked if he went anybody else. I don't think he'll go Man United or anybody like that, another English club. I don't think that he will. I think it'll be one. It will be very, very, I think, very, very difficult for him to turn down because if he was 21, 22, like a Martinelli who's in 18 or 19, time on his side, you can, because I'm sure that he's seeing different things. He's seeing all this.
Seeing what we see sometimes.
Yeah, he's looking like he's going to go. We're going to go forward. Has he got the time on his side? And I think that that's the key. I think when you're 30, 31, the chance to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, I think
in your prime, as well.
And he's proving what a world-class side. Forget about the goal that he does get. You know, there's not many players, Kev, that would get that goal.
True.
Very
true.
So if he doesn't score that goal, he doesn't have the opportunity to miss that. But basically, you know, every time he scores a goal, right, he sees calamities going down the other end and conceding. We're frustrated with it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So what's he going to be like? You know what I mean? And unlike us, he's got to get out because he's a player. You know, you as a you're an Arsenal fan, but a player. But there was a time when you had to leave Arsenal.
I had to leave Arsenal
for your career.
For the career, yeah.
And that, you have to do that.
Yeah.
But as a fan, it never goes away.
No.
But we want him to stay, and I want that. But from a selfish fan's point of view, but I understand the reasons why he want to leave. And if he turned around and said, even tomorrow, he turned around and said, you know what, I'm going to give it my all, but at the end of the season I'm off, I would not have a bad word to say about him.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And that's how I feel about it. Like, you know, if he leaves, you know, people turn around and say, oh, will you be relegated if it wasn't for him or whatever. I've supported Arsenal since the 70s, right? Frank Stapleton was my, and yours, was our first sort of real number nine one we liked, you know what I mean? Like, you know, went to Man United, oh, what are we going to do, what are we going to do, you know what I mean? Like, you know, before him was John Radford, before Malcolm McDonald, you know, you can go on and on and on. You know, Trev Drake scored loads of goals, like, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Then you push it on. Then Charlie Nicholas come, Alan Smith come, Ian Wright come, Kevin Campbell come. There was then...
Henry's and all that stuff.
We ain't never going to replace Ian Wright. It's never going to happen.
Anelka, then Henry's and all that. I mean, it goes on and on.
It goes on and on. So he will be replaced. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, even so, when I remember, you know, a lot of devastation when Adebayor went, when he 30, go, oh, what are we going to do with that? Van Persie come along. Right. So don't anybody turn around and say that
the club's finished.
It's not. Because history will tell you that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And Arsenal will get another goal-scoring machine.
Definitely.
That will happen. So that's how I feel about it. If he goes, I'm not gonna say, oh, it's going to be devastation. You know,
you wish him well.
Wish him well, and let's see what our recruitment. Now, the other side of it is, Kevin, which is a big point about the recruitment, is that they're going to know. At this stage now, I don't whether he keeps it, whether he's going or not. So again, we go back to the plan, right? He's not going to turn around and do the dirty and say, yeah, I'm going to sign, and then not going to. Yeah. That plan is already in place. Yeah. So what is Arsenal's plan? And that is the key to me.
And again, we go back to number one, don't we, about the plan, because
that's part of it.
Part of it is, okay, Mikel Arteta and the board and the recruitment team and all that, they've got so many plates spinning, they've got to weigh things up. They're out of Europe, that makes their window that much short of keeping him.
Yeah.
Of keeping Aubameyang. Aubameyang is, and it was a great piece by Gary Neville saying about Aubameyang is world class. He is world class. He's our only world class player. Let's be honest. He's our only world class.
He's a world class goal scorer.
Yeah, he's a well. That's what I mean. He's a striker. Yeah. And whether you like it or not, you're judged on goals. Yeah. You're judged on goals, and his goal record stands up with anyone right now.
End of.
End of. And there's an opportunity or possibility that we're going to lose him. And you know what? The club have not developed and progressed as much as he would have liked or we would have liked. So that's what's going to happen. We are going to lose players. Because if the club had progressed, I can tell you this much, Ramsey wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
AUBAMEYANG would have signed a contract. Lacazette would have signed a contract. If he was up there challenging for titles, they would have signed it. I can guarantee you that. But the fact of the matter is, Arsenal are in a funk. They're going nowhere.
Yeah.
They're going nowhere. And going out of Europe to Olympiacos, when we should have went through, tells you everything. You know, it tells you everything. So we're going to get some money for him. And I think he's going to go. So he leaves. Again, so what's the plan? The plan is going to be, we're going to need ARTETA to go back to it, that ruthless. He's going to have to cull, he's going to have to chop, he's going to have to change. And he might not be getting the players that the so-called fans want and the names, but give me an Arsenal team that fight every game.
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
And the other thing with AUBAMEYANG, which Arteta's got to do and he's got to look at, is that, all right, I get that. We're not going to get somebody in that's going to score 30 goals or 25 goals, what he does regular. But with AUBAMEYANG in the side at the moment, he gets 20, 25 goals. What is our midfield getting? Non-existent. So we might have to get a striker in there and get something in the midfield. Get it shared around.
Get it shared around.
Get it shared around to add those goals up. Now, with all of his goals at the moment, right, and it's fantastic. I think we're on a +2 or 3 or 4. You know, there's other areas that need to be addressed, and it shows you in everything that you need, not just there. So we might have to lose him. That's going
to get better in
other areas. For that. Do I want that to happen? No, but I can see it happening. And as I say, I'm not going to be upset by it. I'm not going to lose no sleep because I don't blame him.
Yeah. You can't blame him. So let's move on to number 5, Lee. Last but not least is the league. And do you trust these players? I'm not saying that we're going to get Europa or Champions League through the league, but do you trust them to challenge? Because sometimes that's all we want. We want them to be able to challenge for it. You know, we've had a poor season, but now they could rectify some of that season by actually challenging and making a move for it. Do you think they can?
You know, it's the hope that kills us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was asked a question yesterday. Do you think Arsenal? And I think there's teams with too many points on, but I don't want to get all that.
You don't want to get negative about it, do you?
You know, and I think I don't. You know, and I don't want to build myself up because I feel that this team will let me down somewhere like they did against the Olympiacos. You know what I mean? Because I'm going in. We're going to go and win this game. And I've seen so many positives, and I think like, we can go. You know, and I'm in a little group chat with all we go away with, and I'm not slagging these guys off, you know what I mean? Like, Steve was on there yesterday going, have you seen, like, Man United got Manchester City this weekend, and Spurs have got Burnley.
The permutations,
we've got West Ham, and we've got...
we've
got West Ham, Brighton, around next... I think our next 3 games, correct me if I'm wrong, we might have to go... Well, no, now Southampton game is now... cancelled because we got through, you know what I mean? But like we was even saying, like we might have said, don't say it.
Don't
but we've got that, and I think Norwich is our next one after that. So when you think about West Ham, Norwich, and Brighton are all in the bottom 3 or 4. Now we win them with all those other teams knocking about against each other,
dropping points.
We're going to be in a better position.
Well.
But there's where the hope kills you because you now don't think, you know, we're going to go to West Ham. And I'm 100% sure about that, you know what I mean? I'm not.
Well, look, West Ham are coming to town. West Ham have been awful, but they won their last game.
Yeah.
In a relegation battle, they won. So now their tails are up a bit. You know, and this is what happens. Everyone's fighting for their Premiership life now. So the teams who you expect to win are going to make it so much more difficult. And if you don't turn up... Arsenal going to have it so hard.
And this is the thing. Who works with me, Paul's a West Ham fan. You know Paul, West Ham fan. Like, going with him Saturday. right? Before Olympiacos, you ain't you're gonna be easy on me, aren't you? Like, you know what I mean, when we go and all that, like, it's gonna be easier.
Tell me what his attitude's like
his
now.
His attitude now is, after seeing that, there's always
Paul.
There's a chance now. He feels there's a chance because of what's that. So when you go to trust, there you go. You know what I mean? Like,
the eye test. He's looking at it thinking they're vulnerable.
We're vulnerable. There's a chance.
Yes.
But 2-3 weeks, when we turned over Everton, we turned over Newcastle.
No chance.
Hold on a minute.
Don't fancy
but
these.
there's the Arsenal that turns up against him. Now he's hoping that that's the Arsenal that turns up against West Ham.
Of course he is. Yeah.
And Brighton fans will be hoping. So we have given teams an opportunity. So when you say, do you trust this team? No, I don't. No. I don't trust this team.
And that's the whole point, and that's why it's number 5, because we want the viewing audience to leave your comments. Do you trust?
Yeah, do you
trust Arsenal? Because I'll be honest with you, Lee, I don't trust Arsenal. I don't.
And a lot of people will have a go and say, you're negative.
No, and do you know what?
It's not.
It's not negativity.
No.
It's what I see. And let's be honest, it's what's been going on for far too long. They're not consistent. When the pressure's on, they can't rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
I'd love to be proven wrong. Oh my God, I'll be the first one singing their praises, but I just don't see it.
No, I don't. Listen, if we can go on a run now and we get top 4, there'd be no one more happy than me. Like, you know what I mean? Win every game, But I look at it and people go to me, yeah, we got this and that, and then I turn around and say, yes. Someone said to me Sunday, he said, I think we're 3 points behind Spurs now, right? Yeah. And they said, we're 3 points behind Spurs with a game in hand. I went, well, do you know that game in hand is against? It's Man City away, you know what I mean? Like, and I can see there's one side of it and there's another side, you know what I mean? So that game in hand. So we've got to go at some stage this season now, and we've got to go to Manchester City, Wolves, Tottenham.
We've got to beat one of the big boys.
We've got to beat one of them. Yeah. We've got to go there and beat and draw the other 2. Now, can Arsenal do that? Can you trust Arsenal to do that?
You can't trust them to do it.
No.
No.
Can they do it?
Yes.
Certainly they can.
They can. They've got the ability, but the trust, it just isn't there.
Isn't there. And that's a different thing, isn't it? Like trust.
Different mindset.
It's a different mindset to what we're looking at,
completely.
So, I'm, and listen, that's what a fan does, Kev. He's, sit there and look at, drives themselves mad. You know what I mean? Me and Ken come out of the game on Thursday, and we could have beat each other up. We were so angry, you know what I mean, with each other, like, you know what I mean. We're firing it, and then we're slagging them all off. By the time we got to Finsbury Park, we're going, what time are we leaving for Monday night Portsmouth? That is how the football fans' mentality is.
Well, that's how you have to be now, because if you let it linger and fester, it'll break you.
Yeah.
It will break you. And I know there's been times, Lee, where it's actually really affected you.
Yeah.
As a fan. Because, sometimes the saying goes, sometimes you need to take 2 steps backwards to take 3 forward. But Arsenal seem to be taking 2 forward and then taking 3 steps back.
Yeah, the other way round.
It's the other way round, so it's driving us mad. But look, we're Arsenal and we love it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know if you saw that post I put on. I put on the guy was sitting on a bench.
Yeah, it's
with the Arsenal badge. And he's got a face like thunder like that, and he's got the umbrella because it was raining over the Arsenal badge.
And he's getting wet.
He's getting wet, and he's like that. He's just got, because we do care. We still love the club. Look, we can rant, we can rave, we can do all that, but there's one constant, and that's Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah,
that's it. So, everyone, thanks for listening. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Leave your comments, and we're going to see you again in a couple of weeks' time. Look after yourselves. Take care.
Count the Gunners.
Cup the Arsenal.